you're good, Brad.
Are you on?
You are on, yes.
Okay, so the screen.
You're good, unless
Okay.
you want it.
No. Hey, we're KW. It's 10 o'clock. We're just hang in there. We're gonna wait till the usual 10:10 just to make sure everyone is on today, and then we're gonna start answering questions to the best of our ability. So just hang in there for now. So,
We'll wait, in 10 minutes we'll come back.
okay, so if they're logging on right now, what are they saying?
Well, come over here and I'll show you. I'm about to throw this up. They
Yeah,
see
we need-
this,
yeah.
we'll throw that up there.
Good.
That's what they see now.
Okay.
And, but the audio is on unless I bring it down. We'll be live in about 7 minutes.
Katie Dunwoody again. We're going to wait 5 more minutes just to make sure more people are on today's virtual sales meeting. We're going to be answering as many questions as we can. 5 more minutes, we'll start. Thanks. Okay, KW, again, let's give it about 2 more minutes. Just hang in there, and we will start with the questions. I'm just, again, making sure the people that are late arrivers are able to get on the call. So just hang in there. We'll start in about 2 minutes. Just leave the sound on, people.
Okay.
All right, let's go ahead and go. All right, so hello, KW Dunwoody. It is Tuesday, 10/10. We are having a virtual sales meeting today just to answer your questions. Many of you have sent in questions you want answered. So we're going to try to get through those the best we can, just to give you the best intel and advice on how to proceed. So there's no doubt what is happening out there is unprecedented, probably in history, changing by the hour. Information that was good a half a day ago sometimes changes depending on what the government's doing, both federal and state and local, and you need to be aware of that. What's interesting is with all this confusion and with all the changes, there's no doubt we have people, or you have family members that, jobs are being stopped. You're seeing that restaurants are closing, all sports is closed. There's closings by the hour. I read this morning Nordstrom stores have closed. Apple is closed. So it's confusing and a little bit scary for us and our family members, just because we've never been through anything like this. So the hard part, we're here for a couple of reasons. One, to answer questions about just what do you personally do, you and your families moving forward. And again, I'm just one person, so it's just my best opinion. Again, no one's trained for this in the history of the world. The president, the head of companies, the head of universities, no one has gone to classes to prepare for something like this. So it's everybody's best call, and at the end of the day, it's your best analysis too, because everyone's situation is different depending on you and your family. So the really hard thing about this is we can't predict the length of this continuing. Mm-hmm. That's where it's very hard for governments and for everybody involved, in that, is this a 2-week thing? Is it a 2-month thing? Is it a year thing? And I think another factor that's making a big difference too is the public's acceptance of this. You have a wide range of people. I still know people that literally 2 days ago just got on a plane to go somewhere, which is amazing to me. And so you have people that still feel like this is no worse than the flu, and it's no big thing, and it's overblown, and it's a hoax. And then you have people that are very serious, are taking this and what it could mean, one, to your health, and also just to your finances and income. I mean, there are two different pieces here. So you have a wide range of reaction to what should be done. On top of it, we're our government's democracy, so it's very difficult to get everybody to do one thing. I mean, I read things over the weekend that young kids, especially, bars in the major cities were just packed with people. Okay, so the level of belief to what this really is a 180-degree perspective, and that's part of what makes it difficult to make decisions and advise you. So again, I think everybody is going to have a different reaction to it depending on what you think the virus is. Personally, is it bad? Is it not bad? How long you think it will last? Your financial situation, and your family members' job situations. I think you're going to have a different reaction, each person, and nobody's wrong. You're right in your own thinking because you have circumstances. So we're going to try to go through some questions. I think the biggest question, the overall arcing question, is what do we tell our clients? And probably, what do I do when the government's saying stay home, yet we're in a business where to get paid you don't stay home. I think people are having conflicts there. What do I do? So let's start out. What's really amazingly interesting about this, as difficult as this is, extreme as it is, the real estate business is the one thing that is still going very well. You'll see because I'm talking to Randy and I'm talking to Renee daily, just business levels, and what's really interesting and kind of strange is that real estate business is happening equal to better, higher volumes than it did last year. So that's good news for us. Here's the truth. I've said this my whole career. Everything sells for a price. So right now there is opportunity in our business, and that you have a wide range of people's views of the market, and that creates opportunity. On one side, you can have somebody that really feels like this is going to last a long time and this is very severe and important, and they want to get out under all circumstances. So they're willing to do anything to price their house at a level to sell. And then on the other side, you could have people that still not saying anyone's right or wrong, they feel this is short-lived, this is an incredible opportunity where a month ago, 2 months ago, you couldn't get a house. It was hard to get a house, multiple offers. This is a chance to get in and maybe even get something under what it would have been a month ago. So you have two forces that you have both sides. So I think what we're seeing is it's causing real estate activity to happen.
Right, and our agents would be well served to be prepared to talk to both ends of the spectrum.
That's correct.
And not get
I think
bummed on the one and be ready on the other.
right. I mean, our job, and right now more than ever, is to help and give people perspective and help our clients make great decisions. That's what we're trying to do. So I think the more we can become versed in what's happening, and here's one side. So I'm talking to you, Stacy, as a client. Stacy, I've never seen anything like this. Nobody has. All I can tell you is this is what we're seeing that's fact as far as the way business is happening, and my perspective on, again, there's groups of people that really want to get out. There's groups of people that want to get in. And you, as the client, need to make your best decision, because the key to the decision, and again, no one can answer it, is it short-lived or is it longer? Okay? And no one can answer that. So as an example, here's an example. So let's just say a house in Roswell 2 months ago would have gone on for $250 and it would have had 5 offers in a day. Okay?
Yes.
That client is calling you today going, Stacy, I need to sell. Okay? I've lost my job. I need the money. I need to sell. Okay?
Bingo.
So I want to list it. Let's just say you had a conversation 2 months ago. We were talking about listing at $250. You were doing some fix up. He calls up and says, I want to put it on for $180 tomorrow. Okay?
Yes.
How do we answer him? Okay? I think you need to give him both perspectives. So if you said, Stacy, again, I can't say how long this will last. If you put it on for $180, and let's just say that causes it to get a contract in a day, and you sell, and you close, and this lasts 3 weeks, and prices, everything goes back to normal, didn't turn out well for you. If you sold it for $180 in a day, this lasted a year, in a year prices were down on your $250 to $100, then you look extremely smart.
You're doing cartwheels.
I do not have the ability to tell you how long this lasts. I'm telling you all the possibilities.
Exactly.
Okay.
We have to lay out the options.
Exactly. So so why don't you read what Renee sent? Again, the good news is another one of your questions is basically, what happens when clients that are under contract are calling up wanting to terminate. And the good news is that's really not happening to any degree. So, Pete, can you put up the Gannick? There we go. So, and Stacy, will you read this for us?
Great. Renee says, so far, it is business as usual, just with more hand washing and sanitizing. There has been a lot of misinformation going around about attorney closing practices related to COVID-19. Also, many agents are questioning whether or not to move closing dates up. I encourage agents to use Lynn LaCraw's COVID-19 special stipulations, which we're going to go over in a few. Next. Nope. Did you not get the, okay.
Go to her piece of paper.
Yep. Okay. Closings are taking place on schedule, and we are still receiving new contracts and continuous requests for legal descriptions. Close KW, Gannick PC. We have had one contract termination this week due to the worst inspection report seen in 15 years. And non-big box lenders are continuing to prioritize purchase transactions over refinances. Gannick is still honoring agents' pay at close requests, so long as we have the earnest money check from KW. For new contracts and contracts that have recently gone binding and are still in the due diligence period, I encourage agents to use the special steps that Lynn sent out, which I've sent to everybody. Please don't hesitate to call me directly with questions. My cell is 404-931-8566, and I'm happy to talk to you about your transactions or general concerns. So, business as usual at Gannick.
Right, they've had very few, if any, contracts that have been under contract not closing. Okay,
Right.
Pete, can you put up Randy's? So I sent you an email yesterday from Randy, who I think is a great perspective too. He handles a lot of agents, so and I'm talking to him daily.
This is paraphrased, read off your paper.
Okay?
So wait, hang on. So the good news is, and this is a piece of what we advise clients too, because the rate environment is going to make a decision for people too, and no one has ever seen anything like this happen. So, for argument's sake, most of you don't really see the inner workings of a mortgage company, but a lot of times if things are changing in their world, Randy or Matt or Paul might get a call from or an email from their company saying, hold off, you cannot price a loan right now, we're repricing the market. And that's just based on risk and risk arbitrage in their world. Okay, so I would say, it's just my opinion, that if you had 2 repricings in a day, that maybe happens 3 times, 4 times a year for them. I mean, it's very unusual. This week, those guys are having like 10 plus repricings a day by noon. That's how everyone is assessing every piece of information and the risk to loaning the money. So here we had something amazing, let's say 10 days ago, which was rates went all the way down to 3% even, 3.0. And at last week's sales meeting, you saw them say that, holy smokes, our business is up 2.5 to 3 times over normal, with everyone refinancing, which they should be doing. And we were warned, about big box lenders. They're going to be closing 60, 90 days, that there's no appraisers. Okay? Almost overnight, or within 2 days, rates went from 3 to 4, over 4 to 4.25%.
Yeah, 4.25.
Again, other risks came into play with these companies wanting to lend money. Okay, so the refinance business almost shut off completely. Maybe that's what spurred, again, every person's different, every buyer's different. Some of us are very fearful for the future, what it brings, but some people that have money in their bank account, they look at this as an ultimate time to go buy a house, and if rates are this low, they're going to take advantage of it. As of the last 2 days, rates have come down to about 3.5 to 3 5/8. So those things are bouncing around like crazy. But the rate environment is also a piece of why a buyer might choose to move forward. This is my opinion only, but you're seeing that almost every day the government is putting stimulus in that is unprecedented. Okay, Fed rates have dropped to 0. We'll talk about that in a minute. Big packages, $1 trillion packages. Okay, let's just say that's all in the system, and this solves quickly. It's Brad's opinion that rates would go up quickly, maybe in the 5s, because there's so much money and liquidity in the system now that they're going to have to do everything, raise rates to slow it down. And I don't know if people have thought that through, and they're just going, hey, I need to lock in the 3s right now. There's many, many pieces of this. So, why don't you read Randy's thing?
Okay. While we're still responding to numerous refinance inquiries, our purchase business has stayed steady through this crisis. We continue to receive an increased number of purchase pre-qualifications and are sending out a steady flow of letters for offers being made. To my knowledge, only one purchase transaction has canceled due to the panic in the streets, and that contract was last week and had only just gone binding 24 hours prior. I've spoken to numerous agents. The scenery seems the same. The buyers are still out there and hungry for agents to help guide them through to the right properties and are even more motivated by the lower rates. Several of our recent contracts received have been multiple offers. Rates managed to somewhat stabilize yesterday. Only 2 pricing adjustments were made during the day. One up, one down. Closing the day at about the same as we opened. This is in sharp contrast to last week when we saw 20 to 30 pricing changes daily. Current 30-year rates are between 3.5 and 3.75%. Last week, the 30-year loan closed at a high of 4.25. Projections are that the rates will stay fairly flat throughout this week, but we are taking one day at a time. My best advice is to get your buyers pre-approved now, even if they're not ready to look quite yet. When this pandemic is over, we do feel there will be plenty of pent-up demand, and the need for fully approved buyers will be a necessity. Stay safe and keep calm.
Okay, so again, 2 industries that support us, both closing and mortgage, are seeing really no change at this point. Again, remember, I'm going to say this a bunch of times during this, it's changing hourly. Just can't say. I mean, if all of a sudden the president orders basically no one can leave their home, that can change things. Even though it is possible, we're finding, necessity is the mother of invention, especially in a tech society like this. And we will find ways it could turn into that you'll show property virtually and people will actually buy that way. Don't know at this point, but it is changing hourly. So let's answer a few questions. Again, the biggest question I think is, what do I tell my clients? Okay, that's a very wide open and general question, but if they are calling, I think they could be calling asking what's your assessment of just the future of real estate. Again, I think your best answer is what I said before, to talk about the possibilities of this. Hard to answer because we don't know if this is a 2-week, 2-month, or a year thing. We don't know. The length will determine damage to the economy, what that means. No one has ever been through this to factor all this together. But I think we tell them the scenarios about, if that's the question, just about real estate and the economy. If their question is, and this might be more the question, what do I do as a seller right now? I think, again, you talk through the possibilities, the time frames, and I think you can explain. You could actually use these emails that what's really strange, even though we have so many businesses suffering, ours is actually going the reverse way, and that there's equal to more business being done. Here's another factor that I cannot begin to calculate. If all markets, equity markets, people don't want their money there, is it possible that people regard U.S. real estate, and Atlanta being at the peak of that, do all people in the world want to park their money here as the safest haven to buy real estate? I can't factor that in, or if that's true. If that's true, we'll have more business than we ever knew about. I mean, realize what we talked about last year. We had countries, many countries, that their bond yield went negative, meaning that if you wanted to buy a government bond in our lifetime, you'd get a small percentage, but I'm giving you my money to buy the bond, and you give me an interest rate. Let's just say it's a 0.5 point, but it's secure. It's backed by the government. Okay, that's why people buy it. It's very secure and safe. Last year we saw many European countries crazy. It's crazy. But people regarded the safest place to put their money is now I'm going to give you the government, let's say Germany, I'm going to give you the government my money and I'm going to pay you. You're not going to pay me an interest to have my money. I'm going to pay you to protect my money. I mean, that's unheard of, okay? That's the safest place that those people could think to put their money because everything else was falling that had value. So if that's the case and they're saying it's possible even U.S. that could happen now, I can't answer it. It might be that many people around the world consider U.S. real estate, and Atlanta is near the top of that, is the best place to put their money. If that's the case, things could be crazier than we ever thought of. So you see there's a lot of possibilities here depending on the factors. So again, with your seller, I would try to explain the possibilities with time, and Mr. Seller, you have to make this decision. If it's my advice, I would explain it, and then I would back it up in an email. Okay? Here's what we talked about, and
Yes.
you have chosen to sell or not to sell.
Absolutely.
Because down the road, we don't know the time frame. So
Yep.
if it goes the wrong way for what they were thinking time-wise, you have proof that you explained this to them and they chose to go this direction.
Very important.
So there's no right or wrong answer here. I mean, there might be some people that go, I need to sell now and I want to sell, and there's some people that will choose not to. It's their own gut depending on the information out there and the length of time that you think this is going to go on.
And Brad, if you have a seller that they were like 1 inch from listing and they decide to back off for whatever reason, and you were counting on that listing and that commission,
Right? It's tough.
that's a hard right.
It's a very tough situation. Remember this too. Gary said this. I hope all of you watched his talk yesterday, his live stream with Jay. It was very good. We'll send you the link again. It was very calming, very comforting.
It was recorded. It was recorded.
Yeah, and I think very real. They were very truthful. Okay, so in no way was Gary saying anything but we're going into a recession. But the point that's important, I've been in the business 30 years, so I've lived through a lot of cycles myself, and basically the 2007 to 11 cycle, which was very tough for a lot of people, not as bad in Atlanta. We only went down 20% for argument's sake, where a lot of the country went down 80%. Now, further out Atlanta, some of that did go down 80%, but we still did business and we still survived. And the point he made, and it's true, during those times, which were very, very difficult and tough for this country, we still were doing 4.3 million units nationally during those years. I mean, normally it's about 5.3 to 5.5 million. 5.5 million is a typical year. Those years we were still doing 4.3 million. So a lot of business was still being done. And I would suspect this is going to be the same case. Again, for the reasons I said, depending on how long it lasts or how people view the safety of real estate assets in this country, it could even be bigger. I cannot say at this point. So again, I think it's going to be tough if a seller wants to wait, but I think there'll be more people coming from different directions that will be active real estate players. On the buy side, the same thing. You're going to have a wide range. I mean, we've seen extreme stuff happen since last Wednesday. The night that they basically canceled all the flights to Europe, seems like that's when it really started big as far as, you know, America and everyone waking up to what's going to happen. And again, since then, it seems like contracts have increased. Okay, I'm sending you every day. I'm trying to give you the pluses and the minuses happening. You're getting an email every day of the number of contracts. We basically have had 8, 9 every day. And a lot of people reporting. Someone I heard yesterday had open house over the weekend, had 86 people through there and 4 offers. So it's just really hard to calculate. As far as buyers, same thing. Again, depending on your fear of the future and how long it will last, combined with I've been trying to get a house. I couldn't get a house. Prices were too high. It seems like they're coming down a little bit, or I'm worried about.
Or there's less competition.
Right. Rates,
people are afraid.
Rate environment. Again, some buyers might choose to delay and wait and see and get more information on what's happening out there. And it appears right now a lot of people are jumping forward.
Right.
And
We're still heading into the spring market, even though this is going on.
Right.
So it's always our biggest demand of the year.
Right. If you see our listing board, it's crazy full.
So
right.
So touching your database.
Well, let's not go there quite yet. So let's try to answer a few more of these questions just about the market and concerns you have. So here's one, I'm gonna read it to you. I'm very confused as to how far we are supposed to be taking social distancing over the next 2 weeks. And this is a massive question for people. I showed property to buyers. I had already been around all weekend, happened to be all vacant listings, so felt good about all that. Moving forward, we are supposed to meet with new buyers and hold open houses? I see that people held them this weekend and lots of people showed up, but I read that we are supposed to be staying home as much as possible, hence the confusion. I think that's one of the biggest points of confusion on a number of levels. One, safety, and 2, your own personal morals, okay? I can see that some people are going to go, I do not want to be out in the public. I do not want to be around my buyers. There are ways around that. They can follow you. You can stand your distance if you're comfortable with that when you show. There could be sellers that choose, I don't want people in my home because I'm scared of that. Same thing with open houses. People are coming in. I'm worried about that. I'm not worried about that. I think you're going to have to you're going to have to make your own opinion on this, whether you feel safe or how you can make yourself feel safe. Again, our business is right now doing well, and our income comes from selling real estate. So a lot of us, this is a big time. This is your own soul search to determine how important your income is to you and your family versus your fear of what is out there, and again, what could happen health-wise to you and your family. I think another point that Fran brings up, which is important, is even if you choose to say, I want to work, I want to provide for my family, some people I think are having a moral dilemma that it seems like what I should do for the country and what is being asked is for me to stay home. That's going to be a tough decision for some people. I cannot answer that for you. And I don't think there's any right or wrong answer. It all depends, and that's one situation that's making this tough to get everyone to stay home, because we're a democracy and we've always given people freedom to choose. So it's your own decision there. Again, it's your own judgment. I do not have judgment on people. I understand why some people are choosing one way and some the other. I mean, but this is an important point here. So it's your own choice. Here's another question. I've been working on getting my townhouse ready to sell. I have finished paint, repair, and new carpet. I'm planning on pictures Thursday and list it Friday. Then I would do an open house Sunday, caravan next Tuesday. Do you see any problem with this plan? Again, I think it's the same answer as we just said. It's your own personal, until governments say you cannot go out, I think it's your own choice and what you're comfortable with. This is still reading. For the open house, I was thinking I could greet them outside the front door and let them in one at a time. Again, I think we're we're going to begin to find different solutions and different ways to do business. I think that's a good idea. I need to come into the office to submit my listing agreement and actually input. Okay, so let me tell you this too. Right now, our staff for the most part is here until we hear otherwise. It could be in a day or two. We have to go virtual because it's demanded by the building or by governments. But realize if you're not comfortable coming in or just don't want to come into the office, inside the office, there's two things that you need to come to the office for. Get your earnest money in here and probably deliver closing packets. You do not have to come in. All you got to do is call any staff member. Call me, Stacy, Ellie, Rebecca, Pete, Felicia, Allison. We will meet you outside. Usually the limo drop on the Target side's better, but just tell us which side you're coming to. We'll run out and get that for you. You do not have to come in. I did that to two people yesterday. So remember that. You don't have to come into the building or the office. We will meet you at your car outside. But I think you're going to start developing different habits to make this work in your reality.
We will make it work.
Okay, here's another one. Thank you for offering this. For me, it would be helpful to have stats that I can share with clients around the percentage of business still being done week by week. Exactly. I think that's what our clients want most, okay? They want insight from us. They want to know what's happening. That's why we're providing this. That's why every day I'm sending this how many contracts we did. That's why I'm sending, I'll regularly with Randy and with Renee find out just volume being done. Yes, that's what people want to know. Additionally, anecdotal feedback around whether showings and opens are slowing down, staying the same, etc. We've already said right now it seems like they've actually increased. Lastly, I heard the news about the Fed lowering interest rates, and understand this could mean lower rates from lenders, so tips on how to approach the subject would be helpful. This is an important point, okay? We're here to provide values for our clients and interpret the market. This is probably one of the biggest misunderstandings in all of real estate, in that what the Fed just lowered to zero is not mortgage rates. It is the rate, the overnight rate that Feds charge banks to lend to them. That's what it is. For argument's sake, generally mortgages go tandem with them, but not necessarily. The two are not connected at the hip. So the reason the Fed did that was they are expecting delinquencies of payment from businesses and people to banks, and they are making it as easy as possible, 0% interest for banks to borrow from the Fed to cover these situations. Okay, that's what just got lowered, and that's a good thing to explain to your clients. Again, that happened, while that was happening last week, rates literally soared from 3 to 4. So you can see how they're not connected exactly. But rates have come back down. So that's an important point. Fed lowers, they can't, they might, I think you can go negative. I'm pretty sure you can have a negative rate. But we'll see. That's a very good question. I think I have one more. This is an important one too. It hadn't happened as much, but could start happening. How do you respond when clients decide that they are going to walk away from their contract? These are buyers with the lowest interest rates available. So I can't say that part of talking to Renee that no one's falling out on contracts. It could be that a lot of the people had rates locked before all this started, and they want their rate. Again, depending on your financial situation, you might choose to walk away and lose your earnest money, or you might choose to close. So this is a tough situation. If you have something under contract and they want to terminate, what should you do? Again, I would explain everything that we've tried to explain about time frames and possibilities. If it was me, I would attempt to talk to my client. I think all anyone wants is more answers. They want more visibility. Every day that goes by, we have more information. And if you can get your client to agree, they still want the house if the seller would extend the closing, okay? So if your client is saying, I'm gonna terminate, our closing is this Friday, I'm not gonna close, Stacy, if I could get the seller to agree to extend this a month, okay, closing, just so you can have more time to see what's happening, would that be of interest to you? Yes, I think most people would say yes. Well, then I would go to the listing agent and say, here's our situation, would your seller be willing to do that? I would attempt that first and foremost, trying to get that taken care of.
Absolutely.
And then again, in the short term, we'll come up to all these closings catching up, but rate is something to consider, that if they truly lock more in the 3% range, that's a factor in their decision. So this is going to be a tough one. Again, we need to, I think every client's going to have a different perspective on the world and what they need to do. Great news is this is happening very little right now. But I think you need to prepare. It could happen. Okay? So, Stacy, why don't you talk a little bit about just Lynn sent y'all some special steps, and we've sent them out to you. We'll send them again, make sure you have them. But I think it's going to be important to have steps that pertain to possibilities in this environment. So why don't you talk on that for a minute?
All right. There are 4 that they came up with and sent out. The first 2 really apply when you're already under contract, but it looks like you may need to change the closing date. Number 1 is sort of like the 8-day extension, and only can be used if the lender or closing attorney needs to extend because of some COVID-19 circumstances. They need more time to do their thing. That's where number 1 comes in. Number 2 is like the situation Brad shared. If either buyer or seller need to extend because of some COVID-19 or other pandemic situation impacts, you can use number 2, and both parties agree. But either side, buyer or seller, can unilaterally call this. We had an agent call me yesterday, and closing was set for tomorrow, and the stagers, because of people not being able to come to work to them, we're not going to be able to remove the staging furniture and accessories until next Monday. This is a perfect situation where the buyer or seller could extend the closing until after the stager can do their thing. It's because it was related to the virus, so you could still save the deal. Numbers 3 and 4 are new steps that you need to start putting in your contracts that you're writing. So these are for your new ones. The first, I'd recommend everybody use it on their buyers. It's the buyer's right to terminate if something comes up COVID-19 related. So in the event that basically anything happens to delay that where the lender can't fulfill their obligation to the buyer, buyer may terminate this agreement by written notice to the seller on or before closing date, and all earnest money will be returned to buyer. So buyers are completely protected to get their earnest money back. If they want to terminate, of course we don't want this to happen, but that is a great buyer protection. Everybody should put this in their buyer contracts as a special step. And then the last one is similar, just a has to do with extension of deadlines. You can say, going into this, if there's a COVID-19 related scenario, and that can include the government, a shutdown, a quarantine, hospitalization of a family member of the buyer, that all deadlines, due diligence, et cetera, you can say will be extended 30 days. You do have to pick a number, but so we've got some really good language. We'll send this out again. So to give your buyers peace of mind, go forward. We're putting language in the contract to protect you against the unknown, what could change before this contract closes. This is really good.
Correct. Okay, so again, my advice is this moving forward. I think the number one thing you can do is remain calm. Okay, most of us are the leaders and providers for our families, and if you're crazed, you're not going to be able to make sound decisions for yourself and for your clients. So I would say move slower with decisions, stay calm. I think another thing, because again, you're never going to come across a time in your life where more people have more different opinions on things. And I think instead of, it seemed like last week it was happening all over the press. It seems like it's happening less, but we were fighting over people the way people said things and semantics. And again, we need to stay in solution, okay? People, depending on their fears and their situation, might say something that's truly real to them that doesn't apply to you. But instead of lashing out and getting in the fight over that, we just need to stay in solution. We're here to solve problems, stay positive, stay hopeful, and just help people around you. And again, some people, depending on intelligence or just their situation, they're going to say things that seem very strange and bizarre to you, or you know better. I think the point is not to belittle them or just argue about the words. Let's just stay in solution. Gary said this yesterday. I think one of our top things is we really need to be careful of expenses. We don't know how long this will go, so we need to make our money go further. So we really need to ration and keep every expense accountable. And this will regard expense cutting. That's going to be a big piece of this. Obviously, the longer it goes, the more important it is. But I think you really need to be looking at your expenses. Here's one. I usually don't mix church and business, but I will say this. I've talked to a number of people. There are people that are extremely anxious, people that are very scared. And I think what's happening is you're picturing the future. You're picturing the future in its worst possible scenario. You're picturing this going on years. You're picturing, how can my finances hold out? You're picturing the worst case scenario, but most important, you are not picturing that solution, or you're not picturing that future with God in the future. You're totally picturing this, how are you going to solve this? And I would advise you to go back when you are scared and anxious and look back at your life, and there were times where it looked like this is a horrible situation right now, and you can look back and go 2 years later, it actually was a good thing that happened. I'm in a better place. We most of the time are not picturing the future, our own future, with God at the helm, and I think we need to do that, and it will calm you, and it will keep you less anxious and more peaceful. That's what you need to be doing, making good decisions. You can't make good decisions if you're not calm. So I would really, faith is an important thing moving forward in helping you and your family. I'll close with this. So many of you, go back and watch Gary's talk yesterday. I thought he had some many good points. I'm going to go through them. The best way to fight fear is to take action. Okay, just sitting around worrying is not going to do anything. Go do something positive to get your mind off things. I mean, even if you're going to go for a walk, you're improving your physical stature. I mean, just go read, go do something. I would say turn off the news. I know you got to get some news, but all it's going to do is make you crazy. Again, the point I already said, people will need to do more business. People are still going to have a need to do business. 2011, again, they did 4.3 million deals. So I think a lot of people are picturing the future like real estate transactions will go to zero. That's not going to happen. Again, the worst years of one of the biggest downturns in the country's history, still 4.3 deals are being transacted. Remember, you're the protectors of your family. And this was a good point. Bad decisions and fear are very contagious. Okay? So just slow down your decisions, stay calm, try to get out of fear. He said learn to live in getting brutal on your expenses. I've already talked about that. Here's another point that I think will come out of this. Work on your digital and virtual business right now. I mean, you're going to have time to do that, and that might be the outcome of all of this, is that the world really turbo blast off into this new tech type future. I mean, I have a feeling that because everyone's kids are home from school and you're learning virtually, this could change the way we're educated forever. It might be that so many people couldn't afford a college education. Now that they're seeing that kids can be taught virtually, every kid that wants to take from the best economics professor at Harvard can now do so because we've learned how to do this virtually. So again, there will be a lot of positives come out of this. This is a good point. Stimulus does not take effect immediately. So you're going to be seeing in the news tons and tons and tons and billions, even trillions of money put into the economy. It's going to take time for that stimulus to work. I think this is a huge point. Everybody needs right now to accept that you will be a little inconvenienced. Okay? That's how we're going to get through this. That's the real truth. I think everyone, a critical mass of people, have to accept that. This is a good point too. What looks like your darkest moment will be your finest hour. And I can say that personally in my life. Again, the situation at a time seemed dire. And if you stay in solution, stay positive, looking back, that was an incredible thing that happened, and it actually made me better for a number of reasons. I thought this was a great idea. Give your kids a job. If your kids are home, give them jobs to do. I mean, it could be in your business, other stuff. Yeah, I agree. And last, just find a way. We're going to find a way. Mankind, humankind, America is all, and we've been through a lot of things. We've been through world wars. We've been through disease before. We've always come up with a solution, come out better on the other end. So again, I would say very positive in those regards. Any questions, Stacy, Pete?
Well, can we talk about some lead gen?
Let's do that. So what can we be doing now as far as serving our clients, staying in front of our clients? This is a golden opportunity to do that. Because everyone, a lot of people own real estate, a lot of people want to own real estate, and they want to know information and what's happening. So how would you, if you were an agent, Stacy, how would you be playing that right now?
I would be communicating, whether it be phone or text, with everybody in my database, first to ask how they are and how they're being impacted. Show that you care first. Don't talk about real estate first. love on your database. When appropriate, you can get into talking about real estate. You can share your mobile app. You can offer services, offer to get information for them. Kevin's database is calling already. So this is a perfect time to love on your database. You will be the agent that they remember, and we are here to serve. So it's a great opportunity to learn, spend time in command, learn the different applets. We can work on launching your agent site if you haven't yet. Learn about smart plans, campaigns, test out an ad on Facebook. Pete and I still remain available for even virtual consults. Go to the kwdunwoody.com, our Market Center website, scroll to the bottom and find where there's a Book with Pete and Book with Stacy link, and you can get on our calendars, and we can do it with Zoom, Google Meet, and hey, we can all learn. That was one thing Gary emphasized, was use this opportunity to learn, get better at what you do.
Okay, excellent. So if it was me, I think there's two great touches right now. One, I think as simple as just saying, I'm texting you to check in on you and see if you're okay. Okay? You can call, you can text, you can email. I think you'll be shocked at the response if you did that. The other thing that I think is probably the highest form is just contacting everyone and saying, Savis, we have a situation out here as extreme as anything that's ever happened in this country. What do you want from me? As your realtor, what do you want from me? How can I help you? What information do you want me to send you regularly to keep up with this situation and your real estate holdings? I think you'll be amazed at the response you get, and people will appreciate. And it could be any number of answers. It could be, I want you to tell me daily or weekly where rates are, how much business is being done, where prices are going. I think this is a great touch that I would start today, both of them. So, again, we're going to try to keep you informed daily on all the things we talked about, business activity, things going on in the market, but realize we're here to help you. You can drop your stuff off. We'll come pick it up at your car. But we love you guys, and we want you to get through this. So even if it's not real estate related, if you're just anxious, want to talk to someone, call one of the staff people. We're here to help you. Okay, we're going to sign off now. Again, always available by text or email if you have questions. See you now.